Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Modern Warfare 3. The free weekend event is now over, and already I'm getting a bunch of comments here on YouTube. I'm getting a bunch of tweets on Twitter from people saying that now that the event is over, it seems like skill-based matchmaking has been ramped up yet again, which kind of just gives more credit to what I was talking about in those previous videos, where I said that during those free weekend events, I genuinely do think that they take skill-based matchmaking and tone it down a notch to make it so people that haven't purchased the game yet might actually want to get back in the COD because their lobbies are a bit more normal and a bit more fair. It's kind of like the old bait and switch if you really think about it. But one other aspect of that I really wanted to talk about here today is something I mentioned in the previous video. Some of you agreed, some of you said you were going to test it out, and a lot of you came back with comments and tweets and things like that letting me know about your experiences, to which we all pretty much collectively agree that 10v10 here within Modern Warfare 3 feels really damn good. Not only does it feel like skill-based matchmaking is virtually turned off within this game mode, kind of similar to the war game mode, but also 10v10 in my opinion makes the Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer a bit more fun because of the old school Modern Warfare 2 maps. Just because a map was good in one game does not mean it's going to necessarily be good in another game, right? The OG Modern Warfare 2 was a much different title. It had much slower movement, kill streaks were much more of a factor, guns were a bit more lethal. The game in general just fundamentally felt a whole lot different as compared to Modern Warfare 3. So when this game came out and we jumped into it and we're running around in 6v6, especially on a map like Rundown here, the game just felt slow. Maybe it's because kill streaks are a non-factor and you're not really focused on your kill streak anymore, but rather you're just focused on running around and getting kills and doing whatever. I'm not sure, but like a lot of these maps, in my opinion, just don't feel as good as they did back in the day. But when you jump into 10v10, suddenly these maps do start to feel good, in my opinion. And also on top of that, skill-based matchmaking, when you play in 10v10, really seems like it's virtually non-existent. Whereas before, you would have these people on the other team that are all just using MCWs and CDL skins and things like that. I mean, now just look at the kill feed throughout the entirety of this video here. Just keep an eye on that. Like in general, you're not really going to be seeing many MCWs. You're going to be seeing a whole bunch of random ass weapons. And also just pay attention to like the people I'm shooting at. Pay attention to my teammates. Pay attention to the objective. Like check out the gameplay in general. I've been waiting to post this footage because honestly, this is my favorite match I've had of Modern Warfare 3 so far. It was a pretty competitive match all throughout, but it wasn't competitive in the new sense. It was competitive in the old sense. Like in the new sense of competitive, everybody on the other team's a freaking god. They're all trying their asses off. Like everything just feels sweaty. It feels like you're playing ranked play, even though you just queued up for some quick match and no one's really having fun whatsoever. Well, here, this kind of felt like old school COD, where the other team really wasn't all that good. There might have been a couple above average players on the other team, but in general, everybody was just like a normal COD player, not using the best meta guns 24/7. They were just kind of playing the game to play the game. And the people on my team also weren't all that good either. So as a result, myself and my buddy Nate, Dramatic Replays here, we had to hard carry this particular match, and you'll see the final score and it's probably going to blow your mind, like how something like that is even possible in a game that has such thick skill-based matchmaking. Like skill-based matchmaking in 10v10, I genuinely don't believe is even really a factor. That's why I play it all the time. That's where I have the most fun, and honest to God, COD feels a lot better when you're playing 10v10 because the lobbies feel a lot more normal. Now, a couple of caveats before we go too far into the gameplay here. This was not even recorded during the free weekend event. This was not even recorded during season 2. This was at the very end of season 1. You're gonna see like the final score and everything. Like everybody's gonna be around level 250 or lower. This was at the end of season 1. No free weekend, nothing like that. And in general, like everybody in the lobby, it felt like, this sounds like a stretch, and I know people are going to make fun of it, but it actually kind of felt like COD used to back in the day. Not so much like the movement or things like that, but just in terms of like the quality of player in the lobby and the gunfights I got into, and the fact that, well, yes, I'm obviously trying to do my best, but I'm just using a blueprint I got off the battle pass with the MTZ, which is not exactly the best gun in the entire game. It's a blueprint that I liked. I like the fact that it gets all orange and glows the more you hold down the trigger. I like the 50-round magazine and stuff. Like, I'm not like trying my absolute hardest in this match. I'm trying, but I'm not like sitting here like there's money on the line or anything. I was literally live streaming, just bullshitting with people in chat and talking to my friend Nate and trying to play the objective before we quickly realized that basically nobody on the entire team, besides pretty much me, were even playing the objective. Like, it's 10v10. Like, I understand, like, a lot of people go into this game mode and they just want to chill. They're probably going to try to be leveling up their snipers. They might be going for a couple of long shots. Maybe they're trying to use guns that are not exactly good at close range, like, you know, your light machine guns or maybe some marksman rifles, a couple battle rifles or whatever. It's just a chill environment, and I can't believe I'm saying this, that my favorite match of Modern Warfare 3 so far has been played on Rundown, of all things. Like, to me, Rundown is an absolutely god-awful map, and it kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where a lot of the maps here in this game, they just feel different, right? Because a map was fantastic in one game does not necessarily mean the map is going to be good in another game. It's just, that's the very nature of things, right? So maybe I should do one of those videos where, you know, you make a tier list or whatever. Those are very popular, like last year. I don't think anybody gives a shit about them anymore, but then again, to be honest, nobody really gives a shit about Modern Warfare 3 content in general, and it's pretty tough out here being a YouTuber trying to entertain people with a game that nobody really wants to play or even really wants to watch. Like, Blame Truth put it the best on Twitter the other day. He said he watches me, he watches Marksman, he watches a couple of other people, and we're all making good videos in his mind, but unfortunately this year our dance partner is Lieutenant Dan. Like, and that's true. Like, when you're a COD content creator, like, it takes two to tango here, man. Like, the game has to be good, there has to be interest in the game for your channel to work, and everything else kind of comes down to you, your personality, the content you're putting out, and things like that. And honest to God, it sounds self-serving, but, you know, I've been doing YouTube going into 13 years now. This is going to be my 13th year here on YouTube, and I feel like almost every day I get better at what I do. Like, if you go back and watch the old shit that I posted, like the old Moab Mondays, Moab Fridays, sure, they might be nostalgic, but, like, I don't think any of those videos are any good anymore. Like, going back and watching videos, I'm not even joking, from last year, I'm like, ugh, I don't like that video at all. What was I even talking about? You know, it's one of those things where you're always going to be your harshest critic, and therefore you always think you're getting better and better and better. And I do think I'm getting better here at YouTube, but I mean, man, Modern Warfare 3 has just been that game that has had historically low interest from the player base, and that's scary. And I think Activision agrees that is scary. I think Activision is hopefully working towards trying to alleviate that. Hopefully, I can't even say Daddy Vonderhaar is going to save us next year, because Vonderhaar's out. I don't even think I actually made a video on that, and I'm kind of an asshole for not doing that. But yeah, Vonderhaar left Treyarch like a long time ago, like, I don't know, 6 months ago, something like that. Like, it's been a bit. Like, Vonderhaar's gone. He's not even part of Treyarch anymore, but I do have hope for Treyarch and Black Ops Gulf War. In general, I really do enjoy Treyarch's games, but the thing is, man, it really comes down to skill-based matchmaking. Like, that was kind of like the focal point going into this video, talking about skill-based matchmaking and the entire idea of them maybe toning it back a little bit during the free weekend, and then whether or not skill-based matchmaking is as much of a factor in 10v10 as compared to 6v6. Like, ultimately, like, in the comments of all my videos, the comments of everything on Twitter, the comments of, like, anything on Reddit, pretty much, always just seem to boil down to one thing: skill-based matchmaking. And Activision is now coming out and talking about it. But the interesting part is they said that they were going to keep this as part of their ongoing dialogue with the community. Like, going forward, the Call of Duty team, whoever that even is, like, does that encompass all the studios? I have no idea, but the Call of Duty team is going to be having this open dialogue with the community regarding skill-based matchmaking. But after like 2+ months, they finally gave us that blog post, and then they got a shit ton of feedback and a shit ton of responses. Have they said a single thing ever since that blog post? No. Are they going to say anything after that blog post? No. We might hear something like several months from now or something like that, but overall, I don't think they're ever really going to talk about skill-based matchmaking again. I think they did it because all the news press and all the media coverage surrounding it kind of forced their hand. When they came out and said that they were going to talk about it, they kind of realized they pretty much had to talk about it, otherwise they were going to continue to always get that bad press. They waited like 2+ months. They waited for Microsoft to take them over. They waited to like lay off 1,900 employees. They waited for Season 2 and all those announcements. Like, they tried to bury the skill-based matchmaking conversation. They did put it out there, and they did say some interesting things. A lot of it I honestly thought was bullshit, but at least they came out and they acknowledged some aspects of skill-based matchmaking, even going as far as to put in like little Q&As and things like that. But I just don't see them ever actually acknowledging it again. But then again, I never thought they were going to acknowledge it in the first place, and then eventually they did that. So I've been proven wrong in the past, and I would love to be proven wrong here about this. But ladies and gentlemen, as we now get closer to the very end of the game here, I started to really suck towards the end of this match. I was so panicked about just being on the hard point and getting there, because like it really seemed like if I was not there, we were going to straight up lose it. But Nate, Dramatic Replays, he was on a nuke streak, believe it or not. He said he like died like one off a nuke or something like that, which my best kill streak's like 22 in this game, for crying out loud. But he died off his nuke, and then once he eventually did that, he started playing the objective. And it just kind of goes to show, in these normal COD lobbies, one person really can impact the outcome of a game. They say that in their blog post, right? They want one person to have more of an impact in the game. They want every player to have an impact, but skill-based matchmaking kind of does the exact opposite of that. If you're facing 6 clones of yourself, you're not really going to have an impact really whatsoever. But in a match like this, where everyone got in here pretty much based on connection, we all had pretty low, relatively low ping, despite the fact I was streaming. And just look at the score, man. Like, Nate and I went and combined 149 kills to 20 deaths with 19 defends and like 3 minutes and 42 seconds on the hill, compared to to everybody else on my team, which look at this, man, like level 50s, level 39s, level 19s, level 37. The other team had a level 20, a 28, a level 9. Like, look at their names for crying out loud. Like Freddy underscore 007, Check 07, like King X Slayer 71. Like, these are normal COD players. This was straight up like just normal 10v10. We jumped in, we got into a hard point match on Rundown, and it was a blast. And this is what COD could be if they get rid of skill-based matchmaking. But it goes back to the whole discussion. I'm not calling them out in particular, but like Dagaded 9999 or whatever on the other team wins 16 and 34, and he's only level 28. Activision sees that and they're like, oh no, he's only level 28 and he went double negative. We need to get that man some kills stat, otherwise he's gonna put down the game and not want to play it anymore and not buy our shop bundles. Holy jumping catfish, we gotta do something to save this man. Whereas in reality, we were all like Ed at one point. When I first started playing COD back in 2007, I was Ed, and there were other people in the lobby that were Dramatic Replays and Buck Bagalini, and I would see their scores at the end of the game compared to my score and think to myself, holy shit, I've got some learning to do. I want to be able to do that. And that's what inspired me to get better at COD. That's what made me fall in love with the franchise, watching that progression, going from a terrible player to a good player, and it was a blast. And here I am, all these years later, still talking about those good old days because of how impactful and how important they were to me. And other people aren't going to be able to have that experience if Call of Duty keeps trying to handhold them. Again, guys, try out 10v10. I know I'm probably shooting myself in the foot here by saying that, so now 10v10 is going to be flooded with a bunch of sweaty players for my videos and stuff like that, but I don't care. Try out 10v10. I promise you it feels a lot better. I'll be in there, and if you run into Buck Bagalini, say hi in the chat and I'll respond, man. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this video here today. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback on your experiences now that the free event is over and your experiences with 10v10 down there in the comments. How is skill-based matchmaking feeling for you currently? Leave your thoughts and feedback down below. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.